Hello, everybody. This is William del Pilar, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes, where we kind of lightning round it with a handful of stories to fill you in on what's happening and give you the conservative point of view. And before I go on, though, do not forget to bookmark grumblingsmedia.com where you can find our swag. It's some cool stuff my partner has been developing with shirts and mugs. But we got a good show for you. But before we get into that show, one more thing I just realized I need to tell you. Make sure you follow us on YouTube, Rumble, Apple, Spotify under the handle Grumblings Media. And please, if you're listening to this, make sure you give us a thumbs up. And then once it's over, make sure you share. And with that, let me bring on my cohort, Mr. G Manghani, the G-Man. How you doing, G?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm hanging in there. Earlier we talked about a good show the audience should check out. We talked about DC. We talked about Trump's case getting thrown out. I got to be honest, G. Right now, I think things are going pretty well for MAGA right now. And I don't say pretty well because Trump's winning. I say pretty well because the country's winning. The economy's up. Wages are going up. Tariffs are bringing money in. Not everything's perfect. We still got a massive budget deficit. But your quick thoughts before we get into the hot takes on how Trump's doing overall.
No, I think things are going his way. Things are going America's way. Interest rates might be cut soon, so that will make things a lot more affordable for everyone. I think things are going great. I'm happy. I mean, this has been a great summer, and we talked about Epstein also, Ghislaine said that Trump did nothing wrong there, and that was another point that people should go back to that show and watch. That was another great segment for Trump. So yeah, I think funny, things are going great.
When all this started in the 90s and 2000, I remember reading the Rolling Stones or watching, I can't remember the Palm Boast thing. Boy, when I saw a picture of Ghislaine Maxwell, I was like, God, that's a good looking woman. Now she's in her 60s, It's like how times move on. And to me, that has jumped the shark. It has become a conspiracy theory. And with that, though, let's get right on into it. Things are going well for MAGA. They're not going so well for Democrats. The Democrats are hit by voter registration. They're in a crisis. It's a 4.5 million voter registration swing to the Republican Party. So the Democrat Party has seen a major decline in this voter registration in relative to the Republicans, and it's leading, and that led up to the 2024 election, to Trump winning, and it's still ongoing. But these numbers are a reflection of the past 4 years. The Democrats lost 2.1 million registered voters. They lost voters, meaning they left the party, while Republicans gained 2.4 million. So let me repeat that, G. 2.1 million lost Democrat voters. Republicans gained 2.4 million. That's what creates a 4.5 million voter swing in 30 track states. Now, Democrats still had the registration edge over Republicans, but it dropped from 11 points in 2020 to just 6 points in 2024. And it's affecting red, blue, and swing states, including North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Arizona, and Nevada. And on a side note, this is why the Biden administration flooded illegals in those states. So Trump's 2024 gains with men, younger voters, and Latinos. And on a side note, again, since 2024, it's really jacked up with Latino men and Black men. And it's obviously created chaos for Democratic strategies because they're the registration kings, and they assume left-leaning groups will bring in new voters by demographic, the Black voter, the Latino voter, the women voter. They assume they register those voters and they are going to be Democrats. That's no longer the case, as Republicans overtook Democrats in new registrations with a 9-point increase since 2018. I'm throwing you a lot of numbers. In a nutshell, there's a 4.5 million voter swing, and we've reduced the advantage Democrats have had in registrations to a few points. Gee, your thoughts on all this?
Yeah. So during the election, remember the Kamala vibes, right? And her poll numbers and ABC and CNN and all that went up, and it was like some crazy amount, like 5-7% plus Kamala or whatnot. And I was on X, and a lot of my fellow Republicans who wanted a Republican to win were like clutching their pearls and nervous Nellies and all that. I went on X and I looked at Larry Schweikart, and he talked about voter registration. He went into all the numbers that would bored me, but I read them, and it's like, okay, no, there's a huge shift, especially like places like Pennsylvania. But he also said something, and I believe that the Richard Simmons guy on CNN, what's his name? The guy who exercises and does all the
Oh yeah,
poll stuff.
yeah, Richard. Harry Ente, Richardson.
Yeah, you just watch a segment, follow his movements, and you'll get a good workout. But um, the Schweikart said that Gallup does a voter ID preference, right? So now you're
Right,
forcing people to not registrations, but you're forcing people who are not registered either way, or even might be registered, like let's say Democrat. Then you ask them, well, what do you really feel like you are right now? And they'll say, well, I'm Republican. And you get a lot of very conservative Democrats go, well, I identify more as Republican, even though I'm Democrat, but you're forcing the independents to take a side. This is the first time since 2004 that Republicans are +2 in that voter
right.
ID poll. That's how I knew that Trump was going to win. And it always tracks that very well. And Trump won by 3 or 4 points nationally. So this is, hey, look, it can swing the other way really quickly, right? But
Right.
I think Biden was so ineffective, so bad. Bill O'Reilly called him the second worst president, only ahead of James Buchanan, the guy who led to the Civil War, basically. Um, what a lot of people are going to shift over to the right and say, look, the Democrats with all this woke nonsense, illegal immigration with illegal immigrants flooding the border, and high inflation, we don't want this anymore. And that's what I
Right.
think people spoke with the registration.
Real quick, give me your quick 2 cents. I have a show called Fired Up California. We're going to talk about this, but can the CAGOP do anything to take advantage? Now, remember, for the audience, the California State Republican Party has done nothing when it comes to registration under our last two chairs, and that goes back from 2009 to 2024. Minimal, if any, registration, despite the fact they would try to pretend and lie. Hey, we're registering people. We lost ground. The independents of the non-preference party, the no preference party, actually outgained us, and we're the number 2 party, which they aren't a party. Can they capitalize on this?
In the presidential race, no. Sorry. Anyone's hoping that we'll turn California red? No. The Senate, no. But we can turn different congressional districts red again. We start with San Diego. I mean, San Diego's still purple, and you can focus in on I forget the number, but Oceanside up to OC. Turn that red again. I mean, there are different districts that you can make a dent in, and that's what Gavin Newsom's trying to do. He's redistricting so that you turn those purple into deep blue,
Right.
and then you gain an edge in Congress, or I should say the House, and stop Trump. And they
Yeah,
got these.
I don't think the redistricting is going to work. It will work in the long run, but I think the course will stop it before the 2026. But it may go into effect for 2028. But I don't know. I think you are absolutely correct. Look, this voter shift thing's got a 2-part punch. First off, the GOP's got to seize the moment big time. Democrats didn't flip states like California, Virginia, or Pennsylvania overnight. They played the long game. They turned red to purple as they did in California, then to solid blue as California has become over a couple of generations. That's their fast track, maybe 3 generations long term, meaning that's the long game. If we bail right now, it's game over. So what we need to do is build on it. Start flipping districts from the ground up, as G said, in districts that are purple. Work on the school boards, the city councils, then state and federal. And that means hitting Black and brown communities hard with our message, showing up where Democrats have taken folks for granted without delivering, which is every blue district. Trump's already paving the way with his gains there, giving us a blueprint. Focus on winnable races to nudge blue back to purple. Bottom line, if the GOP and groups like the California GOP don't think long-term instead of chasing quick wins, all this momentum's wasted. because that's why we've been losing ground overall. We look for that quick win and we don't think the long game. And we have to take advantage of this and think long game. G, Trump's approval surges to 54% post-summit amid an age divide. So a national poll reveals a boost in Trump's job approval ratings after his meeting with Putin and Zelensky. And that's an insider advantage. August 15 to 17 show Trump up with a 54% approval. Voters under 65 are approved by wide margin. Whites approve at 64%, and African Americans and Hispanics are showing improved support, while those 65 and older are Democrats, as we can see at all the protests. They're all old white people in D.C. God protect the black man. Oh, these old white people. Your thoughts on Trump's approval, but also your thoughts on the fact that all these blue hairs are voting Democrat.
No, okay. Let's think about people 65 and older. Are they going to TikTok? Are they going to YouTube? They're not, right? They're going to ABC, NBC, CBS, MSDNC, or what's it called now?
MS Now. MS Now. MS Now.
Oh,
Rachel.
I'm hoodwinked. Maybe that's a conservative or fair and balanced. But yeah, that's where they're getting their news from. So for the left wing media, and people use lamestream media. That's way overdone. But that they've got those guys locked away, right? But it's the 65 and younger, which I'm actually proud about that they're getting their news sources from alternative places like YouTube. Like
Yes.
little guys like you and me and other people that I watch, even Bill O'Reilly and Megyn Kelly, who are the big guys, they're on YouTube and not on these networks.
That's right.
And so they're getting their news that's unfiltered, and they can make their own decision. And 54%, heck, that's like more than twice. I think more than twice the approval rating of the Democrat Party as a whole.
That's right.
I mean, Trump's winning.
Preach it, brother.
Do you ever get tired of winning? Remember that saying in the first term?
So here's my final take on it, people. Trump's getting slammed with like 92% negative media coverage. Yet his popularity is still climbing against all odds. And we're not talking the 1990s movie with the beautiful Rachel Ward. Imagine if the press played it fair. How much higher could his numbers go? Look, our country could grow even faster, slash the debt, supercharge the economy, and build better ties to make the world a safer spot. They tried the love fest with Obama, and it bombed because he wasn't in it to improve things. He just followed orders from big donors like Soros. Plus, his policies tanked, and it left everyone worse off. Think about it. He snagged the Nobel Peace Prize officially for a speech, but really, a lot of folks say it was about his skin color. Trump, he's already helped wrap up 6 major conflicts and is grinding on the 7th with Ukraine and Russia, but hardly anyone gives him credit, let alone a nod for a prize. We're stuck in a system run by elites, and most people just end up as their pieces on the board. And despite all of that, Trump's still climbing with the approval ratings. Gee, you say you've been watching Bill Maher. He agrees with Trump in terms of when you got a big stick, you wield it. Your thoughts on that? First off, Bill Maher, I'm sure you probably saw it on Real Time. He stated that Donald Trump correctly views the U.S. as the world's dominant power, but one that has underutilized its influence. And what's he referring to the Trump tariffs that force other nations to revise unfair trading practices. Trump forcing NATO to increase their financial contributions. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I will say that America's not sinless. Before I say this next part, it has a fair share of things you can criticize it for, but by and large, America is a benevolent power. It goes in and seeks to uplift communities. Look, let's think of West Germany and Japan after World War II. We went in there to make their lives better and to make that place safe again, right? So that's the way America views things. And again, there are instances where it goes in and puts corrupt people in power or whatnot. But by and large, we should use our power to basically make the world safe, a peaceful place. Trump hates war. We know that. And so now he's putting pressure on India. Well, what does India have to do with Russia? India's buying their oil. And he's saying, don't buy their oil. We need to bring this war to an end. Then you can buy their oil. Simple, right? So, And even Bill Maher said, look, Trump hates war. He hates seeing people be killed, and he wants to bring the war to an end. And that's why he's rightfully using our power to tariff. You want access to our markets, then we're going to charge you amount, but we're going to really charge you if you don't play by the rules to make the world a safe place again. So
Exactly. All right. So my final take on this, people, is I've said it before over and over. Life's not fair. The strong have taken from the weak forever. But America flipped that script, as G alluded to, after World War II by rebuilding the war. But now it's biting us back with everyone taking advantage. We're the most generous country out there. Hell, I volunteered everywhere from not the front lines, but I volunteered overseas. I volunteer here in America. So I've seen the greatness we can bring firsthand. And now to see Trump doing that with trade deals that have screwed us over, look at us as the global Costco. Access to our markets should come with a fee and no locking us out of your markets, because that's what's been happening. And that's what Bill Maher is talking about. That's just smart leverage to level things up. That's not bullying. Folks who cry free market without getting this are either clueless or straight up hate America. Free market isn't just what's coming into America. Free market is the access we get to their countries. The bottom line, using our power to make things fair is our right and the smart play. Gee, before we get to the next topic, a little swag here. I got the big cup. Just like Trump's got the big stick, I got the big 15 ouncer there. Yeah. So you guys, you can use your QR code. Check out our swag at grumblingsmedia.com. And for my brethren Latinos out there, we got the Latinos for Trump t-shirt. ¿Quién es más macho? Trump is más macho. So check that swag out. Gee, I think we're down to our final two here, so we'll make these kind of quick. But we had a whole episode on Elon Musk and the third party, and we said, this ain't going to happen, or it's going to go wrong, it's going to go south. Well, Elon Musk is now pausing the new party plans, and he's looking to back JD Vance. Musk is reportedly shelving his earlier pledge to launch a new political party in favor of supporting Vice President JD Vance's potential 2028 run. In July, to remind y'all, Musk announced plans for the America Party to challenge the two-party system. And that stemmed from a temper tantrum he had with Donald Trump over the Big Beautiful Bill Act. The guy's on the spectrum, and they tend to be extremely emotional, and he had a temper tantrum. He had a hair up his butt, is what it boiled down to. And he targeted by proposing challenges to win 2 to 3 Senate seats and 8 to 10 House districts. The bottom line is Musk donated $300 million to Trump and Republican campaigns in 2024. He aided Trump's presidential run, and he served briefly as Doge. He needs those ties to continue. And he sees his ability to work with Vance as MAGA's successor to get what he needs for his businesses, meaning his board is telling them, you need to focus on the businesses because we need these politicians. You can't be fighting them because they're the ones who make regulation. They're the ones that pass laws. They're the ones that give us tax breaks. So you need to sit there and remember your first and most important mission, and that is to your businesses. G, your thoughts on that, including Vance hope that Musk would rejoin the Republican fold by midterms?
Yeah, I mean, it's just natural human instinct that if you give something, then you expect something in return, right? So let's rewind back about 15 years to George Soros donating to Obama and getting him in place. And I'm sure Obama did a lot of what George Soros whispered in his ears behind the scenes. And if there was any hope of Elon Musk thinking he could do the same thing to Trump, well, that was quickly dashed. I mean, Elon Musk was rewarded for his loyalty. He got put in charge of Doge, and he got some national spotlight for a good 6 months. But if there was like, hey, no, you're going to kill this bill, Trump goes, well, I'm president, not you. I don't care that
well,
you're
not
the
only that,
richest man
G,
or anything like that. So I'm glad Trump did that. But now I'm glad Elon is back on the reservation, because
right.
in the end, having 3 parties never works. It hasn't worked. The one time it did work, 1860, when the Republican Party took over the Whigs, took place of the Whigs, and the Whigs became a dustbin of history. So it did work
Yeah.
once, and that was because of Abraham Lincoln. And I'll tell you, Elon Musk is no Abraham Lincoln. He's an immigrant, so he couldn't even run anyways. But that's beside the point.
Yeah, I think the problem with Musk is he was like Icarus, who flew too close to the sun. So look, we talked about the difficulties and realities of a third party. We don't really have three parties. We got two parties and then wannabe parties. So kudos to my partner, a libertarian. But Big John said it first. Musk has to answer to his boards. A combination of his boards, his stocks, Tesla sales numbers, and the future of those companies is what he has riding on his vision, his leadership, and all that's in peril if he goes political. He's unpopular. The cost of a third party in alienating politicians he'll need for tax breaks, incentives, and regulations is likely making him see things differently. Also, time heals wounds, and he's likely over his temper tantrum. I love doing that. Gonna get me in trouble if I ever run. But time heals wounds, and those temper tantrums he had over being thrown off the varsity team, reality has set in. In fact, I believe Musk will realign with Trump, but not out of love, but necessity, as he is now the enemy of the Democratic Party. And like Trump, Elon doesn't forget, and Elon holds a grudge, and he'll never forget all those Teslas set on fire. In JD Vance, he may see the win to realign with Trump and forge a new future with tech entrepreneur Vance. People forget Vance came from the tech world. Gee, our last topic here, quick thoughts. And I'm bringing this up as a reminder to where we stand. A judge rules Alina Habba is unlawfully serving as New Jersey U.S. attorney. Now, a federal judge declined that Alina Habba, a former Trump lawyer appointed as interim U.S. attorney for New Jersey, is unlawfully holding that position after her authority expired. We talked about this on the previous Fired Up episode. And her 120-day interim appointment ended July 1st. And Trump kind of used old school laws and maneuvered around it to keep her after district judges appointed someone else to lead it. And that was Desiree Lee Grace, who Pam Bondi immediately fired. Now, this ruling has been put on hold pending appeal by Pam Bondi. Your take on this?
Well, this is open and shut, and this is, again, what we talked on the last show about judicial activism and maintaining an air of or a sense of credibility again. If you're a Democrat, rule the right way. Don't rule in the partisan way. The Constitution clearly says the president can appoint these attorneys, and he doesn't like this attorney, this judge. So he's saying, no, you can't do that. And this is going to go up, and I believe Trump will win in the end, handing him another victory. And,
Exactly.
Most people won't pay attention to this one. But again, if the Democrats keep losing all these little battles, they get more and more disheartened and more, what was that?
Well, gee, it sets precedent, too, for future cases.
Yeah.
So we totally saw this brewing from afar. G and I did, and we talked about it. So this mess, as G just stated, is bound to land at the Supreme Court. And honestly, most legal scholars see it as a slam dunk for the executive branch. That's Article 2 that gives that legislative branch a clear edge over the judiciary in Article 3 when it comes to appointing U.S. attorneys. So this is playing out as we thought it would. And that's our show. That's our hot takes. Gee, any final words there, brother?
No, you said precedent. Just one thing that I thought right as you were closing out is the Democrats removed the filibuster for Supreme Court justices. So what happened several years later? Trump put in 3.
Yeah.
And Roe v. Wade was overturned because of that. So whatever the weapons that one side uses, it becomes available to the other side. And now look, I mean, the Democrats
They always do it. They always break precedent. And gee, just to correct you a bit, it wasn't the Democrats didn't waive that for the Supreme Court justices. They waived it for justices. And Mitch McConnell, in one of the few times we liked them, said, "You waived it for judges. SCOTUS are judges too.
No.
We're going to invoke the Biden rule." And there you go. Before we go, make sure you hit like or thumbs up and you share this clip, my friends. Then bookmark grumblingsmedia.com and follow us on YouTube, Rumble, Apple, Spotify at Grumblings Media for more. We hope you enjoyed it. And once again, check out our store at Grumblings Media for the newest swag. And as always, let us know your thoughts in the comments. Until next time, I am William Del Pilar for G Manghani, and this has been Hot Takes. Stay safe, and we are out.
Hey everybody, this is Big John from Grumblings Media, and I just want to say thank you for watching our content. If you want to support our efforts here at Grumblings Media, just smash the subscribe button right here, totally free, or just go ahead and consume more of our great content. Click either one of these two boxes.